Good morning, Thomas. How are you doing?
Um, Surviving. How
It's the world's
about
upside
you?
down right now, right? Um,
Yeah, it's go ahead.
I'm doing really, really good today because I'm in North Carolina and spring has just hammered down on us and the sky is finally blue. Um, and I'm on the third floor of my house looking straight out the window at, there's a baby cardinal on the branch out there. They're like these little round gray balls of fluff. It's so cute. Tell us about where you are and what your situation is.
I'm in a small village in upstate New York. Um, there have been a couple, we know of a couple um, cases of
Mhm.
COVID up here. So, and there are probably more. Um, so we're staying home as much as we can, and that is getting nerve-wracking with three children.
Do you want to talk about your kids? How are they doing?
I love my kids. They're just always there. Um, I have an 11-year-old daughter, 7-year-old son, and then we also have our 5-year-old cousin.
Yeah,
And
those are such hard ages to keep busy if you have to stay inside.
yeah, and they're just inside a lot. We have a big backyard, but that's only goes so far. It's not going out and being at the playground with friends or strangers. Playground with strangers is such a joy. You just meet someone randomly and get to play with them. And
Yeah,
they're not doing that. So they're a little on edge. I'm a lot on edge.
yeah,
I'm feeling really claustrophobic.
yeah. I understand that feeling. I'm really grateful that I've started taking walks with my sister who lives in Chicago via
Hmm.
phone.
Oh yeah.
So we get up early before everybody else does, and everybody else is out. And I can walk down, I can walk, we have enough space that I can walk on the streets in my neighborhood. And we pass people and we just, stand across the street from each other and say, hi, neighbor. But I'm walking via headset with my sister every morning. And that's been probably a huge thing for me because for a couple of weeks I just wasn't doing anything and went crazy. So, and she lives alone, so it's been good for her too.
Yeah, I'm I have quilts to make, but I don't have the fabric for them.
Oh, so frustrating.
And so I've actually contacted a quilt shop that I like in the city
Yeah.
and asked them, gave them description of the fabrics I need, the solids I need, and they're going to do a pull for me.
Oh, wonderful.
And I trust her eye to get it right enough,
Yeah.
and so then they'll ship that off to me.
You could maybe even like FaceTime or something while
Yeah.
she's pulling the fabric. Good.
Um,
What's the quilt for?
it's on spec for a hopeful next book.
Oh, wonderful. Can you
I
give
want to do a
any information about that?
I want to do a book of quilts entirely made in code or types of codes. So this one is using Braille as the means of layout.
Yeah.
It's not raised. You wouldn't be able to like run your hand over it,
Yeah.
but a certain thing happens when where there would be a dot, and then something else happens where there's not a dot,
Have
and
you
it
seen
spells out a long phrase um,
in
within the
Braille?
pattern.
Yeah. Have you seen Kathy York's code quilt?
No.
So I'm gonna, after this, get you in touch with her because she did one that is in a letter code. So you have to figure out what the code is, but the letters are buried under another circle of fabric. So you have to look at the quilt through the light to see the
Okay.
code, and then you have to figure out the letter code. I
Interesting.
think you would love it, and it's
So it's
her
like a replacement code.
hmm Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
remember what they're called, where one letter stands for another letter.
Yeah. I've been doing a lot of binary code quilts.
Yeah.
because that's just an either or, 1, 0, left, right, top, bottom, whatever. You can do all kinds of designs that just are binary code.
That sounds really cool.
Made one for my daughter that spells out smart is beautiful.
Oh, wonderful.
But I need to get back to quilting because I am very twitchy.
Yeah.
I am grateful for Ativan.
And I'm grateful for Wellbutrin myself.
Oh, I'm on that too.
Going. Yeah. Yeah, our family, it's clinical depression is definitely a genetic thing. And we're really lucky that we found the one that works for all our genes.
Oh, excellent.
And it works well, and it's common, and it's really interesting because it's just been the last 4 or 5 years that I'm the oldest of 6, that all of us have really talked openly and discovered the family history that we have of this that we didn't know. And it's so much better when you can just talk openly about it.
Yeah. I
And
mean,
it's not something to be ashamed of. I mean, nobody hides the fact that they have a broken leg, right?
right.
You treat it and you fix it and you deal with it.
I've had an anxiety disorder for 25 years, and this all is definitely
Triggering it over time.
That I'm, I'm lucky I can go for walks, but walks, they're not the same as going somewhere.
Yeah.
I miss going places.
Right.
And I don't need to be necessarily with friends. I like going to a bar and being with strangers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or virtual strangers, near strangers.
Mm-hmm. Being around other people.
Yeah.
That's a huge feed for me as well. I'm an extrovert, so I get twitchy the same when I'm holed up in my studio too long. I like being in my studio. I like making things, but then you have to balance it by being with other people.
Yeah.
So do you not keep a giant stash to pull from?
I have a giant stash, but I don't have enough of the particular colors
That's what
I
you need.
I don't have a 1.5 yard cut. I might have a fat quarter of almost every solid in the planet, but I don't have yardage of these things.
Of just that one.
Stash, and that's what I need.
Yeah,
I have a ridiculous stash.
I have 2 cabinets full of thread and never, ever have the right purple or blue.
Yeah.
Just go figure. It's just, that's what we do because we're textile artists. I have your book here.
Hi, book.
Which I took with me right after it came out. I can't remember when it came out or where I went, but it was my airplane book, there and back. I too have children at home. That's one of the things I'm most grateful for at this time, that they're older. I have 2 at home full time. One came back home because he was in AmeriCorps and they suspended the program. But they kind of take care of themselves.
Right.
It's good having my older son home because he keeps my youngest son. I mean, they go out and they were playing badminton, hitting the shuttlecocks over the house. But they keep each other sane. But I think I started talking about kids because it's been years since I've had time to sit home and just relax and read. So I actually adore being in airports because that's when I sit down with a book. Nobody interrupts me. Nobody comes and asks me to do anything or find their shoes. So I loved your book and the things in it about the just the power of how quilts can talk and the things that they can say. For a long time, I spent a lot of time making quilts that were just pretty. because
Right.
my whole life was so full of chaos with 5 kids at home that creating order and beauty was just what my soul needed. But the last 4, 5, 6 years, I've been making quilts about immigration, immigrants and refugees. And I'm sure that you've gotten it too, where there are quilters who react and say, oh, just, don't say anything with our quilts. Don't ruin our happy place. And we're like, well, you could walk on by and go right to your happy place. But,
Yeah.
I think quilts have always spoken about what we feel and what we're concerned about, always.
I'm fascinated. One of my fascinations is signature quilts
Oh, yeah.
and how they were used as fundraisers, but also these remarkable documents of resistance.
Mm.
Putting your name down as someone on a suffrage quilt or a uh,
Abolition.
abolition or a
There was the temperance movement.
temperance quilt.
Quilts.
You know,
Yeah,
that could be a dangerous thing to do if your husband is, well, a drunkard, and you're putting your name publicly in this quilt that's going to be auctioned.
right.
I mean, it was courageous. I think some segment of quilts has been enormously powerful for the entire history of quilting, has been political.
And
And
message.
that's what I'm interested in, that avenue.
Right.
Um,
And it's so interesting how almost every textile tradition that I've seen has some aspect of that. I had the great honor and pleasure of teaching in the same place with Dorothy. Oh no, it's either Parker or Tucker. She teaches canthus stitching, and she had some spectacularly beautiful, really, really old cantha cloth, which is a traditional textile art from India, where they take their old saris that have worn out and fold them, and then they undo the decorative hem and use the thread of the trim uh,
mhm,
as the embroidery thread, and they stitched beautiful stories into that. I mean, it can also be utilitarian, just like a quilt can be, but
right.
there were amazing and beautiful stories. I mean, especially the history of women throughout the world who are often not allowed to express themselves creatively in many cultures and many times.
Right.
And if you can, they took something that was utilitarian and expressed themselves creatively through that. And I think quilts have always been that.
Yeah. I think that's, is much in many cases the stories of American craft, is these bubbling ups of resistance
Right,
in almost every craft.
right, right.
Um,
And again, that's one of the things we do. I'll make sure that I have the link to your website and your book at the end of this video and in the comments. Everybody look in the comments and check out Thomas's book, because it's fabulous. So tell me one way, how have you kept in touch with your community while you've been physically apart from them?
I've my quilting community,
Your people,
my
whoever your
people.
people are.
Well, my people, Facebook has been really helpful.
Mm,
Um, it just is. As much as it's the big
maligned.
beast is maligned, it just is helpful for dropping a message saying how are you doing. There are people like Melissa Averenos, puts a post out every morning just saying, I'm checking in, how are you all doing? And people comment with how they're doing, and that is then a conversation. um,
Right.
I've been, during much of this, my community has been the family, because the kids now take so much time. They're not in school, so it's 24/7. I have less time for community, which is also part of what's making me feel very claustrophobic.
Right.
Um, and
Do you know many of your neighbors?
not really. It's
So,
weird. We're in a small little village, and everybody knows everybody, but not necessarily well enough to
to
do
knock on the
things.
door or say hello.
Yeah, we're still like we're still the newcomers.
Yeah. I think our neighborhood has about 200 homes in it. I laid awake far too late last night and had an idea, and I'll share it with everybody and with you. We hope to have it up by Saturday morning. We're going to do a window scavenger hunt for the
Hmm.
kids. So the kids can go on a walk around the neighborhood with their parents, keeping physical distance apart. But this one's going to be an animal alphabet. So I
Okay.
have a spreadsheet that I'm having everybody just put their house and street number and which animal they choose, and they're going to just put a picture of that animal in their window. And then the kids I'll have a filled out spreadsheet and then a blank chart for a blank worksheet for the kids. But on the filled out spreadsheet, I'll also have links to animal coloring pages that
Hmm.
parents can print off, trivia questions, and I'm hoping we get enough that we can have 2 full alphabets, one with easy animals and one with obscure animals.
Yes.
And really hard trivia questions for the older kids, and then maybe links to funny videos of that animal, so they can not only go out and do the scavenger hunt around the neighborhood and have an excuse to get outside, but then they have activities to do for a day or two or however long they can spread it out at home. But
Yeah.
I'm putting it on a Google spreadsheet as we fill it out, and then I'm going to have a page on my website where anybody can come and pull this and do it in their own neighborhood.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah, we have a really active next door mail list. So
Mhm.
that's the best way so far that we're communicating with the other people in our neighborhood.
We've
So
been having cocktail parties.
nice. Nice.
Um,
So something like that is I'm finding that small thing. This will be the second scavenger hunt. The first one was just St. Patrick's Day, and we said just put a picture in your window. It wasn't organized at all. Just put a picture in your window and see how many you can find when you go on the walk. So this one hopefully will keep the kids busy a little longer. But it was really nice to see how many of the neighbors were just like, oh, thank you. I have my grandkids with me full time, and I was going crazy and
right.
help. So if we come up with enough like ideas like that and share them out with people of ways to build community while we're not together.
Yeah.
What do you think you will appreciate the most once this is over? Or one thing that you
I'm
will appreciate?
right now, what has me really panicked is how is it over?
Mm,
How do we know when it's over? Shy of having a vaccine and a cure, is it ever going to be over? Am I going to be able to feel safe again? I don't know. And I'm panicked about that. That sort of that sense of we get the green
sorry.
light, but can I trust the green light?
Right.
Um, I would say what I would appreciate, what I'm really good. Going to the neighborhood bar and having a drink with some people I vaguely know.
Hmm.
I find that really comforting in a sense that these are people that have nothing in common. They, in this moment, come together, chat with each other, and are provisional friends
Hmm.
just because of proximity.
And
And I think
it,
that's really wonderful that humanity can do that. It's not just 12 people sitting silently.
right.
We have this ability for provisional friends as well as long-term friends. And I love there's like there's a leap of trust, or not necessarily faith, that, okay, these other people are not going to be horrible assholes to me. They are going to be decent.
It just reminds you of the goodness of humanity, which even when the world is insane, um, I'm like a really optimistic realist, I guess. I mean, I see how terrible some things are. I pay close attention to that. But at the same time, most people are good. We are surrounded by good people, and we are good people as well. And to be reminded of the connection of humans and the connection of people together. I mean, right now, like you and I, we're trying really hard to remember, where have we met before? And neither one of us can remember. But we have enough of something that we can sit and have a conversation for a minute or two, and we can share that out with the other people, just to show people that there are still connections that we can make. There's still that little bit of trust that we can have with each other.
And it's okay to be a train wreck right now.
It absolutely is.
Because I'm borderline train wreck.
Right. And do you have people to reach out if you go off the rails?
Yes.
You have a plan.
I have a very good psychiatrist.
Okay. Yeah, I have. You wouldn't believe the plans that I've made. Hoping my kids can't hear this. Like, my anxiety in the middle of the night is, if I die, I'm going to assign this sister to take care of this child, and this sister to take care of this child, and this brother to check in with my husband. And, like, I have the plan because I know exactly how everybody will struggle going forward without me. And, I'll live. I'll be fine. But it felt so much better to make a plan, and I have it all written down and hidden where they will find it when they go through my stuff, and sent it to one sister and said, it just makes me feel better that you know this.
Yes.
And because she's the one who wouldn't flip out, because she's like, this could be anxiety speaking. And I'm like, it probably is, but I feel better now. So yeah, give yourself time, be patient with yourself, and let's remind all of our lovely people out there that it really is okay to be a train wreck. I thought I have all this time. I have all the materials I need. I have everything, and I haven't been able to make a thing.
Yeah.
Not a single thing. I can't, for 2 weeks straight, I couldn't read a sentence. I teach online, so I have to get on and answer my students' questions, and it took me an hour to answer, to get like one paragraph through my brain that they had written, because I just couldn't, my brain just wasn't functioning.
Yeah, I'm teaching a college course this semester, and we're now online, and I'm really struggling to do it.
Yeah.
It feels so awful. Yeah.
It's not what we're used to. It isn't. But let's thank you for connecting with me. Thank you for being willing to connect with our people. And I just want to tell you and all of our people out there is that I think there is hope. We will have hope. Part of it's your anxiety speaking. Things will get better, and there are things that are okay right now. I mean,
yeah,
we have things to make, we have things to do, and how amazing is it that we have this video conferencing ability, where we can stay in touch with these.
And I am, as much as the children are 24/7 now, and that's nerve-wracking, it's also this time we would never have had with our kids, to sit down and teach math to my 7-year-old is just so, it's wonderful.
I'm finding
Um,
wonderful things too. I cannot do the math my kids are doing is way beyond me in high school. But we haven't had family dinners together every night ever, because we've always had teenagers who are going. I mean, we do have a family dinner, but it's never everybody and it's never every night. And it's been amazing to have conversations with these people instead of, quick, you have 2 minutes, get in the car, get this thing, let's go and do this. We're just talking to each other and it's lovely.
and it's very entertaining watching my daughter do ballet class via Zoom.
And you get to watch and see it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a weird phenomenon.
How fun is that? That's good. Yeah, my sons they do tricking and parkour, and I haven't been able to convince them to get on the Zoom lessons that they're doing because they're like, you can't do it inside, Mom. We'll break everything. So I'm still working on it. Still, now that the weather's better, maybe I can get a little more forceful and get them out.
Yeah.
Well, we've been talking for half an hour. Thank you so much for
Thank
taking
you.
time out of your morning and talking with us. And everybody click the links to his book. It's fabulous. And Thomas, I wish you a day full of peace and the company of loved ones who hopefully aren't fighting with each other today.
Thank you. And to you as well.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye-bye.